I done woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning with this quote from the Bible that I didn't know about because I don't really read the Bible unless I'm directed by source, the universe, to read the Bible because we all connected to one source, right? This Genesis 2 2 1 or something like that. So, chapter 2, verse 21, that I just found out about because we 21 Savage and everything. And if you add 2 2 is 4, but if you add 2 2 1 is 5, right? 4 5. You know. So anyway, this quote in the Bible, I keep reading it because it's talking about Adam sleeping. Like God or Yahweh put Adam to sleep. But he never said that he woke him up. I gotta say that first, right? But then I kept reading the quote. And then I translated 22 versions of the Bible, ranging from King James International, Christian version, young. It was a whole bunch of translations. So I got the consensus of a few, and then I read every one of the quotes in all these different Bibles, and I'm gonna screenshot that shit in here and show you motherfuckers what I'm talking about. One of the quotes, and let me get it right, because it talked about steed or stead, Stead, and it's only like 2 or 3 versions of the Bible that it said this quote in. The last word was stead. If you take the S and the D out of that word, you get T, right? Texas. But anyway, you see what I just did there? So anyway, let me give y'all some more tea, okay? Tyndale, Tyndale, version of the Bible in 1526. I want you to pay attention to that quote because instead of you, they used a V, right? So you see, a pond is spelled with VPON, VPON. That's what it is, like vice president. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at that version. Like I said, I looked at this quote from the rooter to the tutor because they put everything in the motherfucking blender, mixed it all up, and Dorothy Wizard of Oz our ass, right? But again, I circled some words and I squared some words, and they were from the last word because the first, the first and last and everything, So I looked at the last words, a lot of those last words, and a couple of different words like steed, Stead, stuck out, flesh stuck out. But I'm a translate that word Stead because I told you if you take the S and the D out, you get T, right? T like V and shit. And since we throwing lumber and going into slumbers and shit, but ain't nobody said he woke up now. You hear me? So anyway, I'm gonna translate that. I'm gonna show y'all what the fuck that means. Steed or stead. Okay? A place or role that someone should have filled. That what it say? Now, wait a minute. So, who is that someone that should have filled the role or the place? Adam, because that's the male version or whatever. And he ain't woke up. You understand what I'm saying? Because he put him to sleep. But ain't nowhere in the Bible I read that he woke his ass the fuck up. You understand what I'm saying? But that ain't all, why I'm translating this Bible in this word spell that we under and shit. Cause, that's a word that I circle too, under. underground bullshit. Since we came from a man's rib and shit. Is that what you're trying to say? You put him to sleep and you took out his rib and in the place of, you hear me? There should have been, because that's a whole nother, these words say there should have been, I can't. This shit is beyond me. My bad, I said the quote wrong. It should have or feel, Wait a minute. But I'm going to go back to the Tyndale version of the Bible of 1526. And I'm going to repeat the quote because he cast, like you're casting out a spell type shit. You understand what I'm saying? Because the Lord had an E on the end of his name, you hear me? In 1526, you hear me? With all the V's and shit like that, the V's and the E's and shit, you hear me? Then the Lord cast, with the E, a slumber on Adam, and he slept, with the E, you hear me? And then he took, with one O and an E, out, you hear me? One of his ribs with a Y, an extra B, a E, and an S. So RYBBES. One of his ribs. That's how, but ribs is spelled, wait, hold up, because I ain't done. And in the steed, without an A, thereof, without an E on there, you hear me? He filled, without an I, it's a Y in field, FYLLED, because you feeling shit in the spell and stuff. Up, again, the U is a V, up, so VP, up to place with his flesh. Wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Let's pause for a second, because this is a lot. Because clearly they're using Morse code up in here. So let me think about this for a second, and then I'm gonna get back to you. But that version, the 1526 version, because clearly that's the earliest version that I could find on the internet. All the way to the International King James, and I had showed y'all in prior videos what those look like. But then that word steed is in this Bible without the A, though, So steed is spelled STEDE. So let me look up that word in Old English and shit. You can see what that means. Since we use the Morse code, it look like Eve's Bayou. Ain't that a movie? Huh? Wait a minute. Eve's Bay? Why do we spell that? When you take, because what I did was, because I told you how they was using Morse code. So if they had an extra E, I just put it on. That's what I did. That's how they do Morse code, because it's a spell and shit like that. What that mean? Because why do that spell Eve? If they had a V in place of a U, if they missed the A, if they, what I'm saying? I did that. All down that quote of 1526. And that's what I got. Ease, Bay, then U. Which look like Ease Bayou. Yeah, you hear me? What I said? This shit wild in the bitch. But I'm done with this shit. I can't. Because yesterday, when I went to work at the Penny, a lady came in and was like, are you a Christian? I could tell that you're a Christian. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm spiritual and I am a goddess. And she looked at me like, what that mean? I said, well, God is a man and the woman is a goddess. So I'm a goddess. So I don't believe in a white man as my Lord and Savior, or whatever you want to say. I don't believe in the things that you believe in. And she was like, what Bible do you read? Because I read the Bible at the end of the day. And I said, all versions of the Bible. And she was like, which one? So I told her, like, I'm showing y'all. It's not that me pulling this information from one place. I go in all the versions because, like I said, they mixed it up in the blender and they spilled it out. You just got to decipher and understand what you're looking at with this spelling spell that they're using. But anyway, you know, like I said, I get my little breadcrumbs from certain people that cross my path. And now that I understand what that means, you understand what I'm saying? When I met that lady who asked me these questions and everything like that, and for me to go show y'all what I be doing, especially when I sleep and wake back up. Since, you know, in this Bible, they don't, God, you wake the man up, you know, but he took out flesh from his ribs, and in the place thereof, he filled it. You know what I'm saying? Shit wild in the bitch. Send me a picture of drip, I had bought it. Rollie icon, and this is iconic. Made a few millions of talking Ebonics. I am too blessed to be talking demonic. I